Spaghetti is the greatest of all time. Spaghetti, in my opinion, is the greatest food of all time. I take that to my grave. But what's spaghetti without any sauce?
You know what I'm really excited about, Thomas?
What's that?
I'm really excited about this Bengals game, this Bengals Dolphins game, because the
It's gonna be
Bengals
a fun one.
after the Jets game, I think the Bengals are starting to look like their old selves again.
Okay.
You know, Joe Burrow this year, he mostly hasn't looked like himself. Like if you look at like the PFF grades for how a quarterback performs under pressure, Joe Burrow has not been performing well at all, and that was kind of like his highlight last year. He grades in like 31.2, I think, in pass efficiency when under pressure. And last year he was like the best in the league at it. So he did well against the Jets, but in general, you like the fact that he's kind of starting to put it back together, and that's what you need if this Bengals team is going to be competitive. You've got a hell of a task this week against the Miami Dolphins, who, if you watch my power rankings video, you'll know that I almost had them as my number one team in the NFL this week. Even though the Dolphins did beat the Bills, I still felt like I still feel like the Bills are the best team in the NFL, and they only lost on kind of like a fluky thing at the end of the game where they ran out of time. Like that's not going to happen most of the time. They were ready to win. Like Josh Allen had them in position to win that game, and then they ran out of time. That doesn't normally happen.
Yeah, that was just a frustrating. It's great because those two teams play each other again later. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That was just such a fluky ending. But you gotta realize, you gotta give the Dolphins credit because they survived the butt fumble or a butt punt. So there was off of that. So how do we not know? Mistakes happen at the beginning of the year. But one thing that you got to measure by the Dolphins is they kept it close the whole game. In fact, they won. They're winning most of the game. They did what they could to win. McDaniels looking great. He looks like he is the sauce to Bill Belichick's spaghetti, I guess. You can't have spaghetti without sauce. It could be Alfredo sauce, it could be marinara sauce, but who the hell eats spaghetti without no sauce? It's just nasty. That's Bill Belichick. He's a spaghetti. Great spaghetti. Spaghetti is great. Spaghetti is the GOAT. Spaghetti is the greatest of all time. Spaghetti, in my opinion, is the greatest food of all time. I take that to my grave. But what's spaghetti without any sauce? That's Bill Belichick. He don't got no sauce.
Okay, first of all, I want to rewind for a second. I don't know if spaghetti is the greatest food of all time. It's fine, but also spaghetti without sauce is also fine. It's not the way I want to eat spaghetti by any means. But as long as the spaghetti's properly salted, it's fine.
Bill Belichick, when he's properly salted, he's fine.
Well, Bill Belichick's always salty. But anyway. Anyway, getting back to the Bengals here. This is like I said at the top of the episode. This is potentially a statement game because if you can beat the Miami Dolphins, who right now have a good argument to be the best team in the NFL right now, especially with the way Tua Tagovailoa is playing, then the Bengals win this game and they're right back into that point where it's just like, all right, this is a team to pay attention to in the NFL, and they have to actually go do it. Helps though that they're hosting the Dolphins on a short week, so the Dolphins have to make that trip all the way up I-75, and that could potentially be a bit problematic for them.
Intriguing.
One thing I'll say though, the Bengals pass rush has been getting better. Obviously, did quite well against Joe Flacco, and Tua has been, not so great when trying to pass against pressure this year. A lot of what's been going good with him is he's been kind of putting it together when his offensive line does well around him. But in terms of like Pro Football Focus grades, when he's facing pressure, Tua Tagovailoa is the 27th ranked quarterback in the NFL. Now that's also including some guys like Jordan Love and Teddy Bridgewater, Davis Mills. Well, not Davis Mills, but like basically Jordan Love and Teddy Bridgewater, who haven't really had a whole lot of snaps. So I mean, like if you can get to Tua and you can pressure him, if you can get through that offensive line, which I think the Bengals defensive line is capable of doing. Although to be fair, we also did lose DJ Reader, so that's going to hurt. But I think if you can put some pressure on Tua Tagovailoa, then he might crack. And I'm not saying he's going to start throwing interceptions left and right, but I am saying you can slow down that offense.
I agree with you. I think you guys do have the better quarterback. I think Joe Burrow is the better quarterback than Tua. I don't think that's too much.
Got to show it first.
Exactly. He got to show it first. I just think that McDaniels took advantage of the early season. I think the early in the season, you can win a lot of games just by being the most prepared team in the NFL. And it seems like the Dolphins came out with a game plan. They're the most prepared team in the NFL. But the reason why the Dolphins are so dangerous is because they got all these receivers. They have all these weapons at receiver. And Tua's using them.
Tyreek Hill was a great pickup.
Yeah, it was. It's just insane that they just got him for just hey man, we just gonna take this guy right here. Just give us this guy. Like it's funny, man. Like receivers, man, off season, those be like the sneakiest best move in the NFL. Like that's how the Browns got Cooper, man. We got him for 5th round pick because Dallas didn't want to pay him. The same thing with the Dolphins, man. They're like, hey man, y'all want to pay this receiver? We're just gonna take this guy. Thank you. Yeah. He's ours. This guy right here. He might be an asshole, but this guy can run fast. Who's this guy? No, I mean, I
don't think Tyreek Hill's any more of an asshole than your typical NFL player. He's like, I mean,
yeah, but I
he's
kind of say it now.
Flashy, but...
See, you know that, and I know that, but I gotta say it now because apparently the rest of the world don't know that. So I may or may not be referring to something else, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the rest of the NFL is assholes.
So to be clear, I think it should probably be noted. I keep talking about this game as though Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the starting quarterback. I'm pretty sure, like they keep saying he's questionable, he might not play. I think Tua's going to play. I don't think there's too much to worry about that if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. I think he's going to play. It doesn't help that it's a short week, so I mean, there I guess there's a chance there. But to be clear, there is definitely a chance that it's Teddy Bridgewater playing and not Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I mean, I think I would say the same thing about Teddy Bridgewater. He's been a little bit when he has played this year, which I think he's only had like 3 snaps or something like that. But I mean, he was like kind of like average against pressure. So you wouldn't necessarily play him the exact same way that you would play Tua, but at the same time, I think it's clear that if Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, then you definitely probably have a bit of an advantage over if Tua was the quarterback the way Tua's been playing.
Intriguing. Teddy Bridgewater instead of Tua. Man, just that, you have a short week, not a lot of time to plan. The home team wins Thursday night game. The home team wins Thursday night games, 70% of the time for crazy like that. It's heavily favoring to the home team because the home team don't have a travel day. That's a big thing. That's when you're talking about like 4 days to prepare, 5 days to prepare. So they have that advantage going for them. A lot of momentum going towards the Bengals side. The offense looked like it was clicking a lot. The defense looked like it was clicking too. They finally got protection around Joe Burrow. Tyler Boyd looks good. Honestly, man, all I need to do is just have Jamar Chase to get going again. Y'all will beat this team.
Yeah. I mean, Jamar Chase is kind of doing the same thing he did last year. It took him a minute to kind of get going, but once he did, he took off. And I'll tell you one thing, like despite some of the issues that existed, we don't beat the Jets without Jamar Chase, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the other thing to take note of is, obviously there's the huge difference there between Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine.
Mhm.
Might be seeing a little bit more of Samaje Perine in this game. Kind of really hard to tell. But, in general, the Bengals have not at all been a very good blocking team as far as the run goes this year. They've actually been worse as a run blocking team than they have been as a pass blocking team for all of the talk about how bad their pass blocking looks. I mean, it's only a little bit worse, but it's still been worse. So you got Joe Mixon in the backfield and up against this Miami defense, which has actually been one of the best teams in the NFL in terms of run defense. So I think honestly, this is gonna have to be a game that Joe Burrow is gonna have to dominate, because I don't really see us putting much of anything together on the ground. Maybe if they put Samaje Perine in there, it'll mix it up a little bit. I don't know, but I think. I mean, unless you're just running to the right constantly, which I don't know why they're not doing, because every time they run to the right, it seems to work just fine. But, point being that it's going to have to be through the air. And this is going to have to be it's almost I almost kind of expect this game to be a shootout, because like the Bengals are going to have to play a high pace, like ball in the air type of game. And the Dolphins are more than capable of keeping up with that.
Yeah.
Especially if Tua plays. If Tua doesn't play, then I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is going to be keeping up with that, because we played Teddy Bridgewater last year when he was on the Broncos, and he definitely did not do that. So